Okay, so we're back on the battlefield today. I wanted to like make a video about like all the news and information that's been sort of circling around this game. It takes forever to get up here on this zipline, doesn't it? You are literally a sitting duck. Oh, hello. Is that guy parachuting? There's like no sound for this gun. There's literally none. Is it because I got the suppressor on? There we go. I got the long barrel on there now. There we go. I thought there was something wrong with this sniper. But yeah, I wanted to bring you like a news video. Some official stuff and some like, you know, journalist reports, rumors, leaks, whatever you want to call them. But we'll start off with like the news, which is that unfortunately, DICE appears to be taking away more Battlefield 2042 content. Hello. Nice little hit there. Yeah, they're taking away more content. So on Portal, you get those highlighted experiences. And used to have 5 of them. They're now reducing it to 3, which means that on any given day that you want to play Battlefield 2042, if that's what you want to do, it means that you have less choice than what you had before. Which is a shame, really, because everyone likes more choice. Oh, the grenade. Blimey. Let's see if we can get these guys. But yeah, it basically means that they're taking away your content. And that sucks. No one likes this. But the reason they're doing it is, I think, it's because the player counts. I don't think the player counts are anywhere near strong enough to support that many Portal experiences at once. And I think they're reaching a point... Oh, yes. Nice takedown. They're reaching a point where there's just not enough players to fill all these servers, which is disappointing. And I think we're only going to see these situations get worse before they get better. I really do think that's the case. Before we see any new content for Battlefield 2042, I think we're going to see more and more decisions like this where the developers and the DICE team are going to have to take these decisions that they don't want to take and essentially make the game even more, even worse than it currently is, in order to try and like salvage the situation for the people still playing the game. And so that's their latest thing, reducing the number of Portal experiences from 5 to 3, which reduces your choice level in this game. A little break of the armor. There we go. Nice takedown. And, you know, like, I don't even think at this stage in Battlefield 2042's life, and in the lifetime of a Battlefield game, I don't know if there's any other previous Battlefield game that has suffered so much this early in its life cycle. I'm not sure if there has been. The only other game that I can think really rivals perhaps this level of quick degradation is Battlefield Hardline, which a lot of people don't really consider to be part of like the main Battlefield line of games. It's more like a spin-off like Bad Company. But Bad Company didn't have this player problem. That chicken Balti is not gonna terrorize me. But yeah, essentially the situation is definitely gonna get worse before it gets better. Like, even if you look at, like, the new map updates and stuff they're going to do, like, all the base game maps are going to try and improve them and try and make them better to, like, reduce the number of gaps and add more cover and stuff. If DICE is having that many problems with, like, the player numbers and stuff, maybe they should just focus on, you know, making the maps for 64 players and reworking the base from there rather than, you know, trying to make them for 128, because 128 was clearly a mistake. They should just... It sounds horrible. They should just move on from that. Just admit it. Move on. That was a nice snipe. And just go back to 64. Because 64 is inherently better. But I do really feel quite let down by the situation. Because even in that, all that speak about improvements and stuff, and like the way the announcement was worded, it was like, these are things that you've told us that you care about. And it's like, did you not notice these things yourself? Like, it just feels kind of like everything's being swept under the rug and, like, trying to be downplaying this situation. And it is an unprecedented situation for Battlefield. Like, things have never been quite this bad this soon after the launch of a Battlefield game. And 2042's launch was pretty rough again, like a lot of previous Battlefield games. And, you know, it's almost become normal for Battlefield games to have bad launches. And I think I've got to the point where I'm not really willing to accept that anymore. Like, 2042... You know, they gave up on BF5 to move forward to 2042 to try and focus on it so that it could be the next big thing and it would be more in line with what players actually wanted. And that hasn't really come to fruition. And I think I'm just losing my patience, really, with that kind of scenario around Battlefield. I don't want Battlefield to be the game. Jesus Christ. I don't want Battlefield to be the game that is always considered buggy and broken and has always got problems or an identity crisis. I want Battlefield to nail it. I love Battlefield, and like I love Battlefield, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Those games nailed it. They knew what they wanted to do, even with the bugs. 2042 has just been an absolute nightmare from start to finish. So that's essentially all of like the main news, like the reduction in the amount of content that you're going to be able to play for Battlefield 2042, which isn't great news. And then there's some like leaked information from Tom Henderson that I wanted to talk about. DICE is already internally considering Battlefield 2042 a miss, which we've heard kind of before in different words already. EA has said that it's been a disappointment. But apparently valuable lessons have been learned for the next Battlefield game. And that really piqued my interest because I was like, isn't that exactly what we heard about Battlefield 5 for Battlefield 2042? And the whole point of moving the entire development team onto 2042 was so that those mistakes from Battlefield 5 could be rectified and that the game would be something that players actually wanted to play. So it's interesting for me to hear exactly the same thing said again. And it kind of links into my last point where like I don't want Battlefield to be that game where these kind of issues happen all the time anymore. And I feel like they still are. And it may well happen again in the future. So like my confidence in the next Battlefield game is lower than I think it could possibly have been ever. Unfortunately, I just don't have any confidence that DICE are going to be able to do what they say they're going to do. My only hope is I think Vince Zampella and Marcus Lato taking over. Two big industry veterans. Vince Zampella, yeah, he's been there for all the Call of Duty stuff, like Modern Warfare. Obviously launched Titanfall, Apex Legends. He worked on Medal of Honor. He's like an industry titan. He's had so many wins in his past that it gives me hope that he might be able to get a Battlefield win. And then Marcus Lato, obviously one of the guys who helped create Halo, and he's coming in to help drive narrative for Battlefield. That's my main hope. If they can do something, then maybe we're in for a good time. But yeah, it's interesting to hear that kind of information coming out yet again around another Battlefield game because the game has failed in some way or not met expectations. And it just seems to be the same narrative once again. And then something else from Tom Henderson's report, and I actually just spoke about it when I was talking about maybe DICE should be focusing on like 64 players for the reworks of maps for Battlefield 2042, is that apparently there's a new Battlefield game in development, which, you know, kind of fits right with the timeline. Most Battlefield games release every couple of years. I mean, Battlefield 2042 took that extra year of development for COVID and for whatever other reasons, which may or may not be true at this point. But they also say that there's a quote from one of the people there saying that a lot of the changes they made for Battlefield 2042, they'll just go back on those changes for the next Battlefield game. Essentially admitting that everything they tried to do for Battlefield 2042 was just not what they needed to do. And they just sort of went in a completely wrong direction. I think a lot of people from the open beta would even have been able to tell you that there were certain things that didn't quite work. I mean, even my first video that I did for Battlefield 2042, I said, man, this game feels rough. Like, the scale was quite impressive. Admittedly, I did say that. But, you know, I'd only played a few matches, and we didn't really know what the rest of the maps were going to be like. Beauty of hindsight, I guess. I'm just going to have to throw a grenade in here. I have to throw a grenade. Hopefully I get a kill. Did we get a kill? No, we didn't get a kill. We did get a couple of kills there, though. And I got killed by a Boris turret. Oh, man. Battlefield 2042 in a nutshell. So, yeah, like, we know there's a new Battlefield game coming out. We know there's going to be another one in the future. And, like, we've got Marcus Lato and we've got Vince Zampella, who may well be working on this stuff. And it might be a much better Battlefield game by that. Hello there. Hello there. It might well be a much better project, but I've got absolutely no confidence left to exude for Battlefield anymore, unfortunately. I just can't bring myself to be in that position where I'm super, super hopeful that the next Battlefield game is going to be great, because I've been burnt 2 games in a row. And to be fair, like, a lot of the DLC stuff for Battlefield 1 with the reducing player counts and not really going to the full potential, like, that was a real sort of letdown point. So you can pretty much say from like late 2017 through to early 2022. So you're talking nearly 5 years of like of disappointment for Battlefield. That's a long time. And like, this franchise needs a redemption moment. Whether that's for 2042, I highly doubt it. Is it the next Battlefield game? I bloody hope so, because if it's not the next one, then I think the franchise may well be beyond saving. I hate saying that. That's kind of how I feel. Look, there's a bush camper here. Ah, I got killed by another Boris turret. God. I remember why I stopped playing this game. I just hope here that, you know, with Tom saying things like they've learnt lessons from Battlefield 2042, so things like the specialists, maybe they get rid of those. Maybe they get rid of 128 players and go back to 64 players. They focus more on urban combat and things like that. If those are the kind of things that they have learned, then that's great. But like I say, I just don't have confidence left in the team to actually deliver. And so therefore, I think it will always be now moving forward for Battlefield. I'm just going to have to wait and use my best judgment at the point where I actually get to play the game to see whether it's going to be any good or not. But that's Battlefield 2042. That's my video on it. Those are my thoughts and opinions. Let me know yours down below in the comment section. And I'll catch you at some point in the future in another Battlefield video.